Hey everyone, Amplifier Burn here. I'm back for part 2 of my Raw review. Uh, Alright, Make-A-Wish Foundation. They show John Cena. They said he got his 402nd, 403rd, 404th wish granted. That's awesome. Cena's amazing with kids, doing the Make-A-Wish thing. It's really, really very nice, awesome thing that John Cena does. However, he's not the only one on the roster that does that. Sheamus does it. The Shield had their first one the other night, and they didn't talk about that. They save all the Make-A-Wish stuff for Cena. So by doing that, in my opinion, they think, well, they make the rest of the roster, they don't care anything about the Make-A-Wish thing. Only the mighty, all-powerful John Cena is the only one that grants wishes to children. Which I've seen pictures of Justin Gabriel giving wishes, and I'm sure the whole roster has at one time or the other. And the rest of the roster should be acknowledged for their good deeds like Cena is for his. Alright, and then we have, oh my god, Matadores against 3MB. Oh my god. At least 3MB get the win this time. So now they're 1 for 840. It's good, right? I guess. Oh god. Alright, where to begin? Diego and Fernando. This Matadors thing, I mean, I can kind of get behind. Epico and Primo are two really good talented wrestlers. They were tag team champions. I'm not sure if they have the chemistry of, say, what Carlito and Primo had, but the fact that Primo and Epico are related, I believe they're cousins. They have a good chemistry about them, and they're exciting to watch. However, El Torito pretty much, for me, ruins their whole act. Because, he's a guy in a bull suit. It's kind of like I don't know, it's like they were trying to find ways to, he's like mini Mantar. Except he's like a cruiserweight mini Mantar, minus the paper mache mask. That's silly. I mean that's like Santino silly. I'd much rather see Santino use the Cobra, and that's saying something because I hate it when Santino uses the Cobra. And of course they turned Hornswoggle, so now Hornswoggle's with 3MB. 3MB. I thought they were really gonna make them do something, but they were all better individual. Slater at one time when he was interacting with the legends, he was fantastic. I'm the one man band, baby. That shit was awesome, and he was interacting with all kinds of stuff, and he was calling people out, and he was getting his ass beat. It's funny shit. But he was being used more effectively than he is now. Drew McIntyre, the chosen one. Who would think that because him and Tiffany, when she was in ECW, who's now Taryn Terrell in TNA, because they had a fight or a falling out or something apparently, and Tiffany ended up getting released. That's McIntyre has fallen ever since, and they put him in 3MB, which is which I mean, at first I thought was a good thing because I'm like, good, he's being used, he's not being relegated to superstars. They're putting him back on Raw and SmackDown. McMahon called him the chosen one, and I mean, are we just supposed to forget about that? I know WWE thinks the universe has a, short attention span, and they might to a point, but hell, Uh, Jinder Mahal, another guy that has all the talent in the world, and they're just keep getting squandered in this gimmick, and they're getting pinned by El Torito, and they need another match with somebody other than the Matadores, and they need to look more effective, and they need to win every once in a while. Um, Stephanie McMahon come out and done a half-ass apology. Stephanie McMahon couldn't act her way out of a paper bag, and that didn't change here. You can just look at her and tell it's all bullshit. We end up having she calls Brian out, and Brian essentially tells her no certain terms. In PG terms, you're full of shit. Brie Bella has a match against Paige. It was a really good match. Brie is really coming into her own. Pyro goes off. Brian's at ringside. Brian looks for Kane, trying to protect Brie. Kane comes out from under the ring, tries to pull Brie underneath the ring. Okay, that's really, really creepy. That's not scary. That's just creepy. Because what was he going to do under there? I mean, where would this angle have went? Would he drag her to hell? I don't know. I just think it's kind of silly, But Kane choke slams Brian, and I don't think Kane's got a snowball's chance in hell of beating Brian. Brian's fucking still red hot, so I think he's got the title match locked up. Brie calling Stephanie a bitch. That wasn't PG. That was awesome. Then we had the finals, or we had the finals of the number one contender Intercontinental title tournament. Wade Barrett, Rob Van Dam. Looked like Zeb Coulter was trying to recruit Rob Van Dam to join up with him. RVD kind of told him to shove it. Barrett and RVD had their match. Cesaro and Swagger both interfered, and Barrett thankfully won with the bullhammer. I like RVD, but Barrett, I'm so happy. I've been a Wade Barrett mark since the very beginning. Since when he was back in NXT, I was a huge fan of the Nexus. I believe he's got the Intercontinental title locked up against Big E. I don't feel like Big E has been a very good Intercontinental champion. I think Barrett's going to hit him with the bullhammer, and that's going to be it. And Barrett's going to have a long reign, and I think he should have a very long reign with the Intercontinental title, because every time he's had a big opportunity to really blow up since the Nexus, he ends up getting hurt. So if he stays healthy, then hopefully within the next couple of years, we'll be able to get a world title run out of him. His Bad News Barrett character right now is the most over that he's been since the Nexus. I dare say he's probably more over now than he was when he was in the Nexus. All right, and then we have the end of Raw, which was Shield and Evolution. I may do an Extreme Rules prediction video this weekend to kind of just give some insight. I may do one. I'm not sure yet. So, main event's Roman Reigns, Randy Orton. Shield comes out, or Evolution comes out. Shield comes out. Woo! Ric Flair comes out. Well, kind of swerved everybody. It seemed like a very, very awkward. Flair seemed like he may have been, something was on his mind, or he was mildly intoxicated or something. He just didn't kind of seem there. And the promo didn't have the normal Ric Flair passion as it normally is. He starts out by putting over Evolution, then he ends up putting over the Shield, saying that basically he's not joining back up with Evolution. He endorses the Shield and walks off. And that's all there was. Orton Reigns had a pretty good match. Reigns is coming into his own. I think as far as the members of the Shield, I think he's the one that has to probably step up his game more in the ring. But he's got his 3 really, really good moves right now. And he's becoming a better talker. And if he can add a little more to his repertoire in the ring, he's going to be excellent. He's really good right now. He can do more with 3 moves than John Cena can with 5. So, that's a good thing. His spot where he does the drop kick on the outside while they're hanging off the apron is cool. And I've never really seen anybody do that. So that's something interesting. The Superman Punch, there are people online saying that's a stupid name. And I don't know, it may be, but it's cool. I like it. And, he uses the spear. He used to play football, it makes sense. He's a big dude, hit you with a spear, you're done. Of course, ended up in chicanery, like always, which, of course, I didn't think Reigns would get beat. I believe the only time that Reigns has been pinned, I think Reigns was pinned by Bray Wyatt in one of their 6-man matches that they had against the Wyatt family. And I think Punk may have got a pin on him. Maybe. The Shield ended up standing tall at the end of Raw. And we have announcements for SmackDown that Dean Ambrose is going to defend his United States title in a 3-on-1 handicap match against Ryback and Del Rio. I predict Ambrose will win. Ambrose is now the longest reigning United States champion. WWE's United States Championship. He's now the longest reigning. WWE overall is doing everything right, I believe. The Matadors 3MB thing, they need to get that under control. It's really getting to the point of overkill. The Shield have been fantastic, and they're pretty much using the whole roster, which is a good thing. You still have your Kurt Hawkins that aren't being used, your JTGs that aren't being used. Those are about the only 2 guys that aren't being used. At least Yoshitatsu's being used on NXT. Brodus Clay's being used on NXT. Tensai is now going by Jason Albert and an announcer on NXT. Alex Riley is now an announcer. So at least they're using the guys that have the talent to do stuff like that. I think if you're not going to give something to Kurt Hawkins or something to JTG, then you need to let them go and let them take their talent somewhere else. Hawkins is just happy to be there, obviously. So I think Hawkins is just there, I think partly because he's such a big mark, and along with Hawkins, Ryder needs to get back on TV. Ryder's still over. I don't care what anybody says. He can come out tomorrow. He'll get cheered. JTG has not been seen in a long time. They need to give him something. Well, that's it for the Raw review for this week. My name is Amplifier Burn, and I will see you soon.